Have you ever wondered questions or thoughts like this when it comes to bodybuilding? Do you basically live in a gym? How much do you really eat in a day? How long do you actually spend in front of a mirror? Who are you trying to impress by doing this? All of those are great questions, and I personally wondered the same ones. You do not have to wonder any longer. What you do have to do, though, is watch this episode of Coaching New Age Coach, where I feature a bodybuilder who wears bikinis and believes. This Coaching New Age Coach series is all about the spiritual side of fitness, where we will answer all of those questions and more with our guest of the day. But first, check out some video clips of my amazing guest in her first ever bikini fitness competition. Let's get into it. Thank you for watching that little mini show reel. It is finally time to introduce the one, the only, the amazing Miss Jen, who is also known as Miss JBO. And Miss JBO is a professional bikini competitor in a national federation. And I will not do the rest justice. So with that, I will turn it over to Jen herself to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi guys, I'm Miss JBO, also known as Jen. This is my best friend right here. All right. I am a natural bodybuilder. I do bikini fitness is my division. I am in the OCB, which is a natural federation and national federation that goes across the U.S., New England, all the way over to California. And I just started last year, which makes me an amateur. So until I get that pro card, which we're going for, boop, boop. Yes.
She's a pro in my mind already, though.
So an amateur right now. I'm going into the 2020 season coming up. I'm coming off of my off season, so really I've been doing this professionally, I guess you could say, really putting some effort towards this for about 2 years. I've always been an athlete, but always been involved in sports and fitness, and have really believed in health being a really important part of your life. And so, yeah, I just decided to take it serious and really just go for it, you know? And I've always admired the bodybuilders that stand up on stage and the strength that they, you know, exude, and the kind of confidence that they have. And I knew that, you know what, I should be up there. I can do this, you know? So why not give it a try?
That's amazing. And for anyone who's watching, you know, the title of this video is really a bodybuilder who believes in the spiritual side of fitness. And you touched on a little bit about what brought you to the journey and kind of always being interested in fitness, always being athletic. But can you talk a little bit about what pushed you over the edge and really did spark you to take it full time seriously, and how that kind of mingled into a larger lesson for you outside of just fitness?
Sure. So this is going to get really personal right here, and I'm throwing it all out there, which is kind of crazy.
They see me laugh on this channel, they see me cry. I'm just like, it's so great. I love spirituality. I'm so sad. Everything's amazing. I hate life. So, like, you're good.
Yes. All right. So the real of the real, it started with the boy, okay? And it always
does.
It always starts with some crazy life event that happens to you, where it brings you to a lower spot. And so I had just got out of a crazy relationship that I thought was going to be the guy that I married, into habitual dating. Oh my God, that's a whole other video. Girls, don't worry. I know, all right? There was this one last date that I had, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not trying to fit into somebody else's persona or life, or just try to fit into this mold. And I really started to dig down and say, who are you? Like, who are you trying to be in this world? And whoever you want to be, whatever that is, whatever list that you have, just tackle it and just be that person. And it was from there that started this long journey. I didn't start off as a bodybuilder. I didn't start off even in shape at all. I was probably the most out of shape I've ever been in my entire life. Just started that lifestyle of just constantly drinking
and masking all the feelings,
exactly,
and eating and self-sabotage,
and just not really caring and saying I'll do it tomorrow, and you know what, I didn't want to be that person anymore because I didn't even recognize that person. It wasn't until I saw a photo of myself trying to be all glamorous, and if you know me, I'm a pretty confident person, like I'll put that persona off, but it was this one photo that I took, and everything looked beautiful here, but it was the backside that I caught of myself and really just who I was, and I was just like, you know what, that's not me, like that's not who I am. And it was, you know, it had to deal with everything, you know, your personality changed, how you treated your friends, how you treated your family, how, you know, nothing was genuine because you couldn't even be genuine with yourself.
That's so good. That's such a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many components, like what you just said, that sparked your fitness journey. Like those are the same things that people on the spiritual side start asking through a spiritual awakening, like coming to the realization where you look at yourself and you're like, who am I? Like, this is not what like my soul is calling me to be. I know there's like cognitive dissonance here, like the way I act and portray myself, but like what's actually happening inside. So you just took that, and yours manifested physically in your journey from actually changing your actual outside body, which then changed your inner body. So
and it started off by doing something I was completely uncomfortable with. So my fitness journey started with boxing. I never knew how to box. I walked into this boxing place and was completely intimidated, was like, yeah, I can be like a fighter, right? Or, you know, I just really just wanted to do something fun that was fitness worthy. It could be Zumba, it could be yoga, it could have been anything. And I walked in a new city. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything. All my friends were back home. And I just said, you know what? Who cares? Just do it. Just do it.
That's something, guys, there's something I admire, Jen, so I'm going to just interject one more time there. It's like you're the personality, which I think this has a lot to do with this theme of, you said you just dove into something uncomfortable, right? Everything you just said was so uncomfortable at multiple layers, but Jen is like the most confident person, and she always just takes risks. She can make anyone smile. She can talk to a wall. I always joke if I need like a resume for a real job, like Jen's going to write it for me because like she'll make me sound like, you know, everyone can always see great things in you that you might not be able to see in yourself, but the whole being uncomfortable, it all starts from that. If you keep doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result, right? They say that's the definition of insanity. So every journey starts with, like you just said, that pivotal moment and the conscious effort to put yourself in a situation whereas you might have never done that before. So
and it's like you have to keep on practicing and keep on practicing. And so when you go back to who you want to become, that portion of it, the beginning of the journey, no matter where you are, whether it's spiritual, whether it's fitness, whether it's anything, you have to ask yourself, like, who am I? And nobody really knows the answer to that. And you don't have to. You really don't need to. I'm still kind of piecing the puzzle together. But the way that I started was find out who I want to be. Who do I admire? What kind of traits do I admire? And then you start taking those and you start putting them into your life and start acting as if that is your own and trying to be that person. If you love kind people and how they treat people, start being kind. You know what I mean? And not just to people you know, everybody, you know? I always believed in that saying, be somebody who makes somebody feel like a somebody.
Oh.
Because that's really what we're here for. We're here to inspire, and if you know me, that's a part of my life is just inspiring people. And so going back to the beginning, I felt like I couldn't inspire anybody if I didn't do it myself, if I didn't walk the journey. And the end results are always beautiful, but it's the journey portion that gets you there. That's really what it's all about. And really that's where the spirituality comes into play, because you have to go through these ups and downs and falling and feeling sorry for yourself and not feeling sorry for yourself and picking yourself back up and treating yourself like you would treat your friends, and you know, really taking that path and taking that on, and then that leads to amazing things.
I agree. And speaking of that path, so you said your journey started off with going into boxing. So just kind of walk us through the rest of that. So what happened? What did you learn from boxing? What did it teach you to take that next step? And maybe tell us some of the other things that you had to start altering in your life to really prepare for this real fitness, real competition, business type of journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off boxing. I would go, you know, a couple times a week. I made some friends there. Then a couple times turned to every single day. Every single day turned into sometimes 2 days because I loved it so much. And I made such a network there that I felt so inspired that I wanted to teach myself. I just felt like I had that, I admired these coaches so much that I wanted to be that person. So I started to learn how to box, how to kickbox, some of the techniques, and I ended up teaching, which is really crazy and inviting all my friends in, and they thought I was crazy.
I couldn't walk for like a straight week after taking Jen's class. Straight week.
But they were wowed by it, and that respect back to me meant such the world to me, for them to see me in that light, and I was doing something. Then it became something more of, now I was starting to like lose weight and starting to gain some muscle, and I was at a really good place, but I wanted to take it a step further. So I decided, I met with coaches. I have a workout partner that, we started off just kind of working out together, that turned into a beautiful friendship. And, I went through a couple coaches in the beginning that just didn't feel right at first. You gotta have like personalities or like goals with each other. Not everyone you meet you're gonna jive with, and that's cool as long as you recognize that, because you have to know your truth and you have to be true to yourself. You need to know who's gonna push you all the way to the end, because you have someone that is doing the right thing by pushing you, but they're negative, it feels gross, kind of, as they're pushing you. That's not your journey. That's not your person. You need to find your people that are going to be your
part of your journey is
tribe.
listening to that intuition. If something's telling you something's off there that doesn't mesh with yours, you have to pay attention to that.
Right.
And maybe before in your journey, that's also something you weren't doing, is just like figuring out what's right or wrong. And just like, that was probably felt empowering to make that choice, to be like, yeah, something's not right here. Let me turn right.
Exactly. And then just trusting your gut and just trusting yourself. So from there, then I started kind of like our pre-prep. And so for me, it was all about getting the weight off that was kind of like that normal, natural weight. I don't know if that makes sense. Just that healthy weight that everybody has. I mean, to an athlete, to a competitive athlete, there is very much differences, and I had to make changes in learning how to eat, how to measure my food, what macros meant, what real nutrition means, like real nutrition, not this is healthy, this is the fad, this may work for you, but it doesn't work for me. Like really learning nutrition and what that means, because what you put in your body is so important. I can't even stress that.
Yeah. Like you just said though, like the differentiator I heard you say there is like, forget what everyone else says nutrition should be. It's what's nutrition for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you have to do what's going to be sustainable for you. It doesn't matter what type of diet you're on, as far as if you are a vegetarian, if you eat meat, if you do keto, if you do low carb, high carb, all that doesn't matter. So if you're on your fitness journey and you're looking for that, don't even worry about that. I mean, it's good to know what each thing provides, but it may not be what it provides for you to keep with it. And that's really what's important, is that consistency. So consistency in anything, I had to learn, and I was so impatient. I'm still impatient now. What are we talking about? Every single day, I'll change a little bit. And I'm like, did it work? Do I have lines yet? Am I good? No. Yeah. So it's a long journey, but it's so worth the whole process of going through it. And then, you go through actually competing and what that means, and seeing other competitors and like what they go through and their journey. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing, because it is so personal. This journey is so personal for all of us. And everyone comes from different spots. Some people may be athletes. Some people may be, coming from 200 pounds. Some people may be moms or dads, or, they might be in the age bracket of 50 and 60 years old, being like ripped out of their mind. And it's, it's such a mental, it's mental fitness as well to try to get there, so you're doing physical fitness, you're doing spiritual fitness, and it's all gotta jive. And it's not always sexy. Everyone makes it look so sexy. Like I just had somebody ask me, hey, send me a shred diet. I won't set you up that way, because it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You really have to learn and take it step by step. Like, take your time. When you're doing this, there is no rush. You have a lot of time, and a lot can be done in a short period of time. You just gotta do it right, and you gotta really learn the basics and really just take it slow. Like, there's no protein powders, no magic pills, no extra cardio that is gonna get you those physiques. It's really just building, in diet combined, that's really what it's gonna do. And I was just talking to Abby about this, mental. So throughout the summertime, I was on my off season, working out crazy hard, sticking to my macros, probably about 80%, which is, there's a little bit more flexibility there because we're trying to build some muscle. And my mind wasn't there. My mind was, exhausted from the season before, and exhausted with trying to stay perfect all the way through, and then trying to be comfortable in this new body. The one point that I want to touch on with that is that the mind-muscle connection, and this goes with a lot of different aspects. So coming from that off season, I wasn't mentally there. Coming on to this off on season, it happened instantaneously. So each week that I'm trying to progress, I progressed because I told myself, I'm going to do this, I'm gonna hit these milestones, and I didn't worry about it. I took the stress off of it, and I really put the trust in the process. And that goes through the spiritual world as well, right? So when we're relying on the universe to make things happen, like I was trying to get here, I'm rushing, I'm like, oh my God, had to repeat to myself, you're exactly where you should be. You're exactly where you should be. Trusting the process that Abby's gonna be home. We're gonna be able to record this.
Guys, I wish I was recording though, because she was literally trying to hop over my balcony and I just kept hearing a thud on the back of the balcony, and it was Jen trying to get into my house.
Throwing my stuff over, legs up in the air. It's all I come home muffled.
The moments in YouTube when you miss such good content.
Seriously. But the moral of the story is to really believe and trust in the process. You know, when you're working out and you're thinking about the muscle that you're working about, you really have to connect, and it takes practice to get there. When you're in a meditative state, you really have to connect and get there. I personally am not there. When I hear people talk about that and being out-of-body experiences or seeing things or really hearing their inner voice, like I cannot wait to get there, but I'm not there yet. But I am trusting the process of, you know, whatever it is that I'm doing, that it's going to work out, that it's going to happen. And then when you do truly believe in that to your soul, you believe that, it happens.
It's a beautiful lesson. Like you said, the affirmation, like whenever you're questioning that, is just keep saying to yourself, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. And further than just saying that is believing that. And when you go through experiences like this, like going through your fitness competition for the first year and being in the position where you get to look back and have that retrospect, like it's like you actually believe it. It's not just saying it anymore. You've actually shown yourself like you're good. You've made it. You've gone through it. And you are exactly where you need to be, because had you maybe won that competition last year or something like that, like you wouldn't be here even talking about your next step or that, like whatever lessons you needed to learn from that, you got from it.
Seriously, that was my lesson from last year. If you ask my coaches, I drove them nuts every single day, being like, when are my abs gonna show? When is my butt gonna show? When is this? When is that? And they're like, it's not a competition. Who gets it the fastest, Jen? It comes in time. It's like nature. Like nature cycles itself, right? You know the leaves are gonna come up in the spring. It just happens. That's its natural process.
And for you too, you mentioned earlier in the clip, you said how impatience is like a fault of yours. I don't believe in like everyone having faults. They're all beautiful in their own way, but impatience being a fault of yours. So it takes, maybe this is your spiritual lesson overall. Like you're not going to see that ab until 2-3 years, because it's showing you physically the things that you need to work on, which is also that individual piece of it. Like that's unique to you, where you're like, oh, I get it. I can't just have abs tomorrow night. I have to like do all of these things and all these steps and all this practice and trust that I'm exactly where I need to be and I will get to abs. But the end goal isn't abs. It is patience. Like that's your lesson.
Exactly, and it's building and getting those better results because you are more whole. And so that, what Abby just said right there, if I could share that with anybody in the world who's trying to achieve their fitness goals, it's that. Be patient with the process. Don't rush it. There are no 30-day, 60-day, 120-day fixes. Those are tools to get you started. Those are tools to get you going, to get you off the couch, to give you short milestones, but really, it takes a lot longer than that, you know? And even this year, like I've grown muscle maturity so much more than I did from the last year, because I've only been doing it a year and a half, 2 years. You know what I mean? Like it's not enough time to kind of really learn all the small little things that you learn. I know so much more now than I did before, but now I feel so much more confident because I really truly believe in that process, that this year is going to be a good year, you know? And
more on that. Hold on. More on that later, so you have to keep watching. I think I want to actually explore a little bit more for what you said is a couple of things, but I'm going to merge them together. And it's this concept of, you've talked about it's not always sexy, right? So I think that idea is sexy, where I think a lot of people are interested in learning some of the things that aren't so like glamorous in this, like the things that you have to do, like waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, doing double duty gym 2 times, and also bringing that into the self-love aspect and some of the things you had to do to make sure that you were staying in a consistent good headspace, and the things that you had to do to take care of your mental and emotional, because it is not just physical. So why don't you tell us basically like some of those things that you did and some of the unglamorous parts of it, and then also how it affects relationships too, because you talked about all the walks of life, but how that actually affected your relationships in life.
Absolutely. So when you start to do this sport, it is so selfish. It is the most selfish thing that you're going to do, but it's good because it's for you. At the end, this is your journey. And if you can't take care of yourself, you cannot love anybody else the way that you love yourself. When you have that abundance of love for yourself, that'll exude. You won't even need to try, okay? You just, it just becomes this beautiful thing. And so for me, I have a boyfriend who has a few kids, and so family time is really important to us, and our time is really important to us. So I would make sure that I got up, and I have a very demanding job, and so I would need to get up at 4 o'clock every single morning to make sure that I got my workout in. I took care of me the very first thing, which actually kind of set me up for the day. It was probably the best thing. I'd have to go out, shovel my car off to get to the gym, and it sounded so crazy. On holidays, I'd make sure that I was there at the gym before it closed. If I needed to do my 2-a-days when it kind of got towards the end, I would, but it was really important that I did that for me so that I was able to make time for family afterwards, because when you start doing this, it's okay, I can't be home for dinner because I gotta go work out. I can't be home on the weekend morning because I need to go see my trainer. I need to go make sure that I have this, and this, and so they're all things that are super important that are gonna get you to being stage ready, and being at your goal. And you set this timeline, which is an invisible timeline. It's just what we prefer, but there is such things about being in prep or doing this extreme dieting or extreme physical conditioning for too long. You don't want to do it too long. People think that you do this all year long. Your body won't, your metabolism your metabolism will fail, okay? You'll start to need to add calories back in so your metabolism works again and you're burning calories and it's doing what it's supposed to. You can overexhaust your muscles. You can overexhaust yourself mentally. And so, when you start to become like carb deprived, like we don't have carbs, you literally get angry, like for real.
I've witnessed this.
Like hangry is real, guys. Hangry is weird.
I carry whenever I'm with Jen. I just secretly carry like a loaf of bread in my purse, and I just like.
Here you go. I'm like, these don't count. These don't count, right? No, but it's true. So there are some unsexy things that happen. There's the constant looking at yourself in the mirror and making sure that you're always seeing new lines, or your weight is always going down, which is not always a good thing, that your body fat is always, you kind of obsess about it. You obsess about your food. Like I'm always thinking about food, like today, the whole day I was thinking about what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to eat next, and where it is. And that's a real thing because you have to. It becomes a part of your life. But there are so many great things that come out of this, and that there are so many teachable moments to yourself and that you could show others, because the worst thing about this industry, fitness industry, is that it's so monetized that people are always throwing flashy things at you because they think that they're gonna work. Whether it's like a sexy little like band that you can wear at the gym that's super cute and it does the thigh thing. I don't know.
Waist trainers,
pills, supplements. If you ever want to see supplements, check out my channel. We'll talk about that. But really, it's really about the basics. The basics are eat whole food, exercise, and do cardio. Sorry, it's the non-Italian in me going on here. But it's all about really being consistent and keeping it as basic as possible. But just keep in mind when you do decide to do something like this that you do provide your balance, whether it's doing yoga, reading a book, giving back to your family if you're having that, giving back to your friends. Make sure you see your friends, because it can be, you have to exclude yourself from things like parties, events, things like that. And not all the time, but the temptation, it's really hard. It's really hard to watch everybody have a drink or a cocktail, even though it may be one or two for you, to not have one. Yeah. Or to see, a big plate of nachos come out and you just want like two, but you can't. To say no. But when you do say yes, just make sure that you're prepared, and it just takes a little extra effort for everything, as you go, even traveling
so
or
like
whatnot.
You said, like it all comes down to, I think the biggest, most important word I've heard you say in that question, like when I asked you just like the unglamorous and like how it affects your relationships and what you talk about for self-love, is the word balance, right? And that's just a big word. And even the spiritual community, just in life, the fitness journey, whatever context we're putting it in, balance is always so important. So yes, there's always like a light side and a dark side to every journey too, right? So part of what you were saying is you can be obsessive, but in part of that's the dark side. But the light side is you have the awareness now where maybe you didn't have that before. So you're able to check yourself and use those as teachable moments. You have the selfish side where you have to like prioritize yourself, but maybe that's the lesson on the bright side that maybe you've never done that for yourself before, to show yourself that compassion. And the bright side of that is you can't help anyone else first until you help yourself.
Right.
You know, there's the dark side of what am I going to eat, or being a hermit and you're secluding yourself from everybody. But then there's the bright side of you've taken that time to recoup and recover and know exactly what you need, so that when you're spending time with those people, it's actually quality time and you're actually present in there. So there's so many like matching and like mirror components to like, you know, the spiritual journey to your fitness journey, and just like life lessons overall that have come from it.
Absolutely. And then once you get through all that, you come into your own power, which I can't even express how powerful, not to use the word twice, but how powerful that really is to be in your own power, because you know what you can achieve. You know that you're resilient. You know that you're stronger, and you know that the goals that you're going for in life, no matter what they are, you can achieve, because you just did this big thing. And if you can do something like that for yourself, nothing will hold you back from anything. And that in itself is so important to have.
I think that's a huge lesson. Like my tagline here is lighting the way for those on their way to the light. And part of this series, Coaching New Age Coach, is to have people who are actually lighting the way. I'm not the only one out here doing that, but like what you just said is you basically light the way for others too. And people see that you're able to set your mind to something and achieve it, that the impossible, what seemed like it was impossible, is actually possible. When you get to tell your story on channels like this, or even in our group of friends, that ignites people to be like, wait a minute, they might not admit it to your face, they might not be saying the best things or being your biggest cheerleader in that moment, but you being just your inspiring, authentic self in your own journey, in your own power that way, actually, like the closer you are to people, it sparks something. It sparks something. It sparks something. And that's like the whole beauty of you living in your own power, like whatever journey or like way that ends up panning out for you. If you're a biker, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're in fitness, if you're like whatever it is, it all boils down to just like being your authentic self and letting that shine out so that you can help others like find their way to themselves.
Absolutely. Be your best you. That's it. You deserve to be your best you, and own it. Own whatever it is. If you're great at cooking, if you're great at like, you know, comedy or small talking people, that's a skill, okay? That is a skill, and you know, not everybody has that. So utilize that, like embrace it, allow it to be a part of you and share it with people. It's taken the both of us a long time to sit here at this table to share our most intimate feelings of ourselves with the world, because as you go through these emotions, you feel like you're the only one. Like you see everything glamified, but it's not. It's all a part of like the journey, and we're all going through the same struggle, and it's the same thing. You know, rich or poor, good job, not good job, young or old, it doesn't matter. We're all trying to figure it out. And the best part is just taking those little pieces of everyone's best self to improve yourself, because again, it comes full circle. We all are each other, you know?
Absolutely. Okay, my friend. Firstly, I cannot stop laughing because every time you're talking, since that clip of you doing that muscle thing, I die. You guys had to see that in real time. It's imprinted in my memory forever, but that's why I love Jen. There is no shame. She is her true self, and that's a lesson to you all too. Be yourself, be silly, remember to laugh, remember to take everything so lightly, and just enjoy the experience of life in this whatever journey it is too. But what is actually the most important message of this whole video? We saved it for this moment right here. And do you want to know what that is? Come closer. It's the fact that Miss JBO, our very own Miss JBO, has a very, very special message for you all. I'll let her share.
Oh, wow. What's the... The message is, guys, if you want to know more about this, if you want to know about the fitness industry, how to really do bikini prep, how to do it on a plant-based diet, because that's what I'm all about right now, check me out, Miss JBO Plant-Based Bikini Prep.
on YouTube.
We're gonna link it down below. You guys can check me out. Take it easy on me. I'm also an amateur YouTuber, but we didn't have any problems today. Well, maybe you'll see some bloopers. You'll see some bloopers. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But please check me out. And thank you again, Abby, for having me on your channel.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for your new journey, for your fitness part 2, and your new journey with YouTube. And guys, please check her out. She is hilarious if you just need a good laugh. Like, this was just a small taste of Miss JBO, who is a personality in and of herself outside the bikini world. So do yourself a favor and go check out her page and hit that subscribe button there. See you all later.
Bye, guys.
And I'm not even looking at the right thing.
Some ancestral thing going in here.
All right, without further ado,
It's very fancy. This is very fancy.
5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Such a good point. Such a good point.